Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ghost Rider channel. My name's Ghost. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I know that it's a beautiful morning and I'm going to make my way to work now, but I want to talk about a few things today. The topic of this video, as you've seen by the title, is going to be the top 5 things that I hate about my Suzuki Gladius SFV650. And I want to make something clear with you guys. So when I say things that I hate about the bike, there's not really anything that I hate about the bike, but there are certainly things that I do dislike. So when I say hate, I'm going to say I strongly dislike them, but it looks good as a title, so we're going to go with dislike, or hate, sorry. Right, so what's number one? The number one thing that I hate about my Suzuki Gladius SFV650 is the snatchiness of the throttle. So it's not too bad if you're in high revs. However, if you're round about the 3000 mark, especially coming up to roundabouts, or it's weird, it's when the bike is cold, it's very snatchy, and I don't know why that is. I'm just going to sneak in this gap here, quickly does it. So I'm on the roundabout here, right? The bike is very snatchy, so right now, if I just give it a tiny bit of throttle, it's really jerky. It's not a very linear torque curve, so that's the number one thing that I hate about the Gladius. What's number two? Oh, I remember what number 2 is now. So the second thing that I hate about the Gladius is the power, and I know this is going to mix into number 1, but the power distribution. And what I mean by that is the bike has got so much torque, and all the way through 4th gear, it feels like as soon as you hit 7,000 RPM, it feels like VTEC. It's like, whoa, it's just crazy. And no, I probably won't have time to show you guys here, because I'm just going to take it easy. But what I mean by that, right, is it's like this bike doesn't know what it wants to do. Now, I know that it's torquey and it's a naked bike, and they're meant to be all about fun around town and popping on the back wheel, which I do have a lot of fun with, and it is doing what it's meant to do. But in the way that I ride it, when I do give it some, when I do open it right up, like a super sport, or like a motorcycle in general, I know that the engine is a detuned version of, I don't know, the R6. I know it's a 650, but I'm guessing it's like a detuned version of a sportier version. But it's nice and flickable, don't get me wrong. However, it feels like they've detuned it, and it's like, I don't know, it feels like it's taken away horsepower, if that makes any sense. I know this bike doesn't have 200 horsepower, it only has 75 or 80 or whatever the number is. But the way that it pulls 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, when it hits 5th gear, and bear in mind I've got 6 gears, because of the aerodynamics of the bike, it's like driving with a billboard on the front. I really think that the aerodynamics slow the bike down. Because in 5th gear, when I'm going flat out, at about 130 miles per hour, the bike still wants to scream. However, it falls flat on its face. When I hit 130, 140 miles per hour, the bike just, like I said, it falls flat on its face. So that is something that kind of grips me a little bit, is that I don't think it's possible to open this bike up and get it on the rev limiter in 6th gear. I think you'd have to have a very steep downhill slope. Now, don't get me wrong, you can hit 155 on this, no problem, and that's very ridiculous fast, but there's so much more to gain from it. Like, in 6th gear, you probably could hit, I'm guessing it's only an extra 10 miles per hour, right, because of aerodynamics and the difference between, you know, screaming it in 1st and screaming it in 2nd isn't the same for 5th and 6th. Because of the way gearing is, totally get that. But it is, oh, you just want so much more from it. When you're doing 130 on like a, you know, a really long straight, and you're flat out on the throttle, the bike feels like it's got an extra, it feels like it's got so much more to give, but it's not giving it to you. And I remember from the video yesterday, I shouldn't have gone this way. You guys probably won't be able to see anything, but I think it's only for this part, which I'm riding through now. I think it should brighten up in a second. But yeah, I've locked the AF or whatever. So anyway, on to number 3. Now, I know number 3 was in the things that I love about the Gladius, but I'm going to give you a better reason as to why I hate it. Right, so I said I love the suspension in the other video, and I know this is a cop-out, but I love the suspension for when I'm riding with my arm down like this. Then when I'm going over bumps, and this road's very bumpy and potholes, the suspension is so soft that it absorbs everything. So for someone that's 60 years old and has a bit of a bad back, this bike would be wonderful. But you've seen the way I ride. You know I'm going to be doing some track days very soon, as soon as this is over. I would like this suspension. Now I know I could adjust the suspension, but with the preload and just with the actual suspension, it's not a great suspension for racing, essentially. Now it's alright for wheeling because, you know, the suspension gives a lot, so if you're in first and then you let off the accelerator, the front forks slam down and they've got so much travel that when you do just blip the throttle in first, it will pop up onto the back wheel. But it makes it really, really hard to manage a wheelie with a suspension that's as soft as butter, you know? So I do hate it because I do like to practice my wheelies. I do like to ride very fast. You guys know how I like to ride fast. In the safest way possible, but yes, I totally get it. I do ride fast. So it really does piss me off sometimes that the suspension is so soft that you could be on balance point with a wheelie, but because the suspension is so soft, if you go over a bump, it just totally throws you off. So I know I need to get better at wheelies. I know I need to up my skills a lot more, but that is number 3. I hate the suspension on my Suzuki Gladius SFV650. The number 4 thing that I hate about my Suzuki Gladius SFV650 is, and I know this is going to be quite controversial because these bikes, they have parts everywhere, but let's get to the point, is the kind of build quality of it. It feels quite cheap. Now I know it's not going to be like a Aprilia, you know, RSV4, or, you know, it's not going to be that kind of build quality, but I'm on a very bumpy road, so I'm not going to point to it. I'll do it all in editing because I know that I'm going to be standing up here, and as you can see, you know, you probably can't see it now, but you know the bar that's going across, and I'll zoom in on it in editing later, but that's held in with a bolt that's way too big. It rattles the back mudguard, the back God, what do you call it on the fairing? It's like a mudguard anyway, you know. One of that plastic is broke. The plastic, which is like the bikini fairing, which is underneath my seat, that very thin bit, that is very loose. One of the indicators is loose. Yeah, I'm just going to give this guy some respect and come on. Should we race him? Do you think he wants a race? Should we pull up next? Nah, we won't pull up next to him, that's cheeky. Cheers. There's another guy here. Let's not be too mad. Evening? Why do I shout evening when it's 9:30? What's wrong with me? Back to what I was saying anyway. The build quality of the bike is just... Now, I know it's controversial to myself because the bike has 45,000 miles on it. So of course, and I did buy the bike from a sort of training school that I learned to ride on. So yes, it's been dropped, it's been all these things, but I'm just going to have to say, because I'm talking about my Suzuki Gladius SFV650, I'm going to do a pull from second here. Ready? How was that? Pretty nice, wasn't it? Oh dear. But yeah, because we're talking directly about my Suzuki Gladius SFV650, that is one thing that I do hate about it, is the build quality. The bike is falling apart, and I really do need to get to fixing that. So we will turn that into a series once this is all over. We'll give the bike a new look. Number 5. This one's going to be quite a weird one. So number 5 is the stigma around the Suzuki Gladius SFV650. It's as if no one knows what a bloody Gladius is, but they all know what a Suzuki SFV650 is. And I know they're pretty much the same bike. I know they're very, very similar, they're sister bikes, but whenever I tell someone, oh no, this is a Gladius SFV650, they'll go, oh yeah, an SV650, I know them. And it's just, oh, it's not an SV650, Well, it is. But yeah, that's number 5, the stigma around it. And I have to give a proper reason as to what I mean by the stigma of it. So what I mean is, when I try to buy parts for the bike, even Google thinks that the Gladius is just an SV650. If I want to buy some aftermarket stuff, it's all SV650. So it's quite hard because, yes, a lot of things are interchangeable with the Gladius and with the SV. However, not everything is. So when I want a certain bracket or a certain switch that cannot be used from an SV650, I can't find it because everything's labelled SV650. Anyway, I'm at work, I don't want to be riding into work and still talking or not finish the video. So that's the top 5 things I hate about the Suzuki Gladius SFV650. If you've enjoyed, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, I'll see you all later on.